Welcome to video 5 in our Camera Basics course. And a little reminder here that all the demonstrations that we're doing today are shown on the Sony a7 IV, but the majority of these principles will apply no matter which camera, brand or model that you're using. Log versus regular picture profile. What the hell does this mean and what are the pros and cons of either? Well, each time you film, you have the option to shoot in either log footage or a standard picture profile. When you first use your camera, it will be set to the standard picture profile by default. This means that the colors that you're seeing on the monitor should be similar to how your eyes see the world. What you see on your monitor though is what you get. These colors are baked into the image, meaning that when you export and look at it on the computer, the colors, exposure, shadows, saturation, they'll all be as you saw them in camera. So what you see is basically what you get. You can still adjust things like exposure and saturation, but you don't have as much range or room to move as the colors and the look is already set. If you switch to a log profile, you'll immediately notice that your image looks gray, and this is how it will look when you open it up on the computer as well, but don't be alarmed. Log footage is called S-Log if you're shooting on a Sony camera, C-Log if you're shooting on a Canon camera, and so on. So why would you shoot in a log profile? Well, mainly because when you shoot in log, you're filming in a very flat image, meaning that you have a lot more dynamic range and thus more creative control over how the final image will look when you edit it in post-production. So you can really bring up the shadows if the image is too dark or drop the highlights if it's too bright without as much distortion to the rest of the image as you would have if you were adjusting these in like a regular picture profile. So with log, you can really shape the scene. You can apply things called LUTs, which are basically like filters that go over your footage to give them a stylized look. So as an example, I shoot in S-Log3 99% of the time. And this is because I like the flexibility of being able to manipulate my footage and choose a style and a look that works for the piece that I'm editing. It also means that if I do accidentally over or underexpose my image, it's not the end of the world because I can adjust it and tweak it to be pretty perfect in the edit. But shooting this way does mean you have to color grade or at the very least add a LUT to your image, which can add extra time to your edit. The other 1% of the time when I shoot in a regular picture profile, it's usually because my client wants the footage quickly or they want to edit it themselves and they may not have access to an in-house editor who knows how to color grade the gray looking log footage. So looking at the camera now, here is how you select either picture profile. Hit the FN or function button to access the quick view menu. Move across to the box that has PP off. Select this and scroll down until you get to PP8. If you hit the right arrow here, you'll see that this picture profile settings are S-Log, and I like to have S-Gamut 3 Cine selected as your color mode. You can adjust the other settings here like the black level and saturation, but I'd recommend doing that later on. I'd suggest shooting in S-Log3 for a while and then editing your footage to get used to the look and feel of S-Log before you play around with these settings. To deselect a picture profile and just shoot in the standard format, simply go back into this picture profile menu, select the first option, picture profile off. Now that is a super basic rundown on log footage and regular picture profiles. Again, like most things in this course, if you want super in-depth and technical insight into these sorts of settings, there are already a million videos out there explaining things like log footage. My role here is to simply give you an insight into why you would choose a particular setting, tell you how to select it or deselect it, and give you a brief overview. The next video is going to be more fun. We're going to cover aperture, exposure, shutter speed, and more, so make sure you check out video 6.